All right, guys, welcome back to Deeper Than Most. I'm your host, DJ.
And I'm your host, Sav.
And we're looking at episode 31.
31. And not only episode 31, FNC part 14. We're flying through these states.
Good stuff.
Like, really. It feels like we're flying through these states, but we're kind of not, because we have 50 states to do and we're only on state 14. But, you know.
I mean, hey, progress is progress.
Yeah, that is true. We're in Indiana today. Never thought I would say that. Have you ever been to Indiana?
Much there.
Really?
I mean, even though I only pass through, it doesn't seem like it's too much going on.
All right, so you know what time it is. It's time for our dose of the most.
Yeah.
And our first one is called No More Ice Cream. And I'm really excited about these intro topics because they're kind of just interesting and petty. It's just nice to have a laugh from time to time, yeah. So according to Wall Street Journal, the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, is raising an eyebrow at McDonald's and is looking into their ice cream machine problem.
As it should be.
Right. Bro, McDonald's ice cream machine been out since that shit been out and not working since I was like 2 years old. Literally.
Crazy.
So, yeah. But over the summer, the FTC has been sending letter after letter to McDonald's franchises all over the US. They are demanding to know what the deal is with those ice cream machines. Because, like, for real, what's the issue? And it's not just one. It's not just a couple McDonald's. It's literally every single one. There's got to be a conspiracy
every time,
it.
Because how all of them just broke? Like, who fucked them up?
Right.
And, like, why?
Well, they have their reasons.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've worked at McDonald's before. That was my first job. And I don't ever remember the ice cream machine working at the one I was at. So like, do they get faulty ones, or like what? Like, does nobody know how to set them up, or like, what's the deal? Well, no, they say it's deeper than that. So because of this, franchise owners have been reaching back out to make statements about these crazy machines. Many say the ice cream machines are complicated and hard to fix once broken. So what they're saying is basically like, they can like get them to work or whatever, but it's not the people in the store. They have to like order, or bring a maintenance man in, somebody that knows how to deal with these specific machines, and it's like this whole ordeal. And it just never gets done. So yeah. Also, these franchise owners are sick of being the butt end of all the McDonald's jokes. Specifically, the McDonald's ice cream machine is always broke ones. Even Wendy's and Burger King threw shots at McDonald's for this issue.
Yeah, because Wendy's
be on their ass
with that Twitter shit.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, and it's on Twitter too.
Yeah.
Wendy's is that bitch. Literally. So yeah.
Yo, and this next one's kind of really funny to me. Like, when you brought this up to me, I was like, what? Why would he even go
Why
through
try?
that? Yeah.
You should at least had somebody proofread.
Right. Proofread it.
Wow, I said proofread. Proofread your shit.
Proofread. What that mean?
Ain't no telling. I'm going to come up with a meeting. Just give me time.
For sure. Gotta get a t-shirt. Merch coming soon, guys. Be ready.
Proofread. Get yours today.
So can't rob a bank, and honestly that couldn't have been a more true statement, because what the fuck. Alan Slattery tried to rob a bank recently and failed miserably. Bad handwriting completely failed this man's robbery attempt in South England.
I didn't even know it was in England until like I started going into the details.
Because I remember saying,
I don't know what it is about me and my fucking minuscule ass brain, but you guys, when it comes down to like crazy things happening in other parts of the world, like I know that stuff happens, but like when shit like this happens and I read about it in the news or wherever, I automatically assume U.S. Yep, that's some Americans. But, like, I don't ever think that, like, shit like this happens in other countries around the world. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I heard about this whole, like, rob a bank thing, I'm like, oh, where the fuck this happened at? And then it was in England, and I'm like, wait, they be robbing banks out there? What?
They be doing
so,
it.
yeah.
Getting shit done.
Mm-hmm.
The bank tellers described to the media that they simply couldn't read the robber's threatening note.
Threatening. Because
good God.
it wasn't that damn threatening.
I read the note, and it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, we'll put the note up on the screen as well if you're watching this on YouTube. Because it's really it's shitty.
When you see it, you're going to laugh.
You're going to be struggling to read it too.
67-year-old Allen fled the scene empty-handed from a nationwide building society branch in Eastbourne. He was demanding cash, and in his crappy note, he put, "Your screen won't stop what I've got. Just hand over the 10s and 20s. Think about the other customers."
That should sound like a movie.
What you mean? According to some sources, he used the note at 3 different banks, and each of them were unsuccessful. Ooh.
Now that's sad.
Not going on a spree and didn't get shit.
Didn't get nothing at all. A complete fail.
Oof.
And third time's supposed to be a charm.
Terrible criminal. Terrible.
Yeah. So it didn't even get anything out of it.
Terrible criminal.
Just do better.
Because of his terrible handwriting,
literally,
he has since been arrested, as he should be. Because Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. Fucking crazy. And he didn't even get to commit the crime for real.
Exactly. He didn't get to do anything.
Damn shame. So yeah, that is our little dose of the most for today. And we hope that you guys had a good Labor Day.
Yes.
It's actually Labor Day as we're filming this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
No, when's Labor Day? I don't know, but Labor Day will be like here and gone by the time y'all watch this. So,
yes. Also,
happy Labor Day.
Let us know if you practice Lent at all.
What the hell is Lent?
It's like where people like give up or something for like 3 days, can't wear white and all this extra stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. So, drop a comment. Let us know.
Yeah. Or if you know anybody that does.
Sure.
So, this brings us into today's case, which is the infamous LaSalle Street murders. It's a triple murder case, and it's crazy. Like, when people say life just writes itself, they're not lying.
Yeah, no.
This case itself is literally like a movie. So, with that being said, get your snacks, get comfortable, and just help us unravel this, because this one really is, it's just a mind fuck, because none of it makes sense. Nothing makes sense. There's too much information and not enough at the same time. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say before we
it's a lot.
Start getting into this.
It's a lot.
It really is. And also, before we even jump into the case, please, give us a thumbs up. Give us a rating or a review on your favorite podcast platform.
Please.
If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel,
please do that.
Do that, yeah. We're doing a giveaway in October. We're doing our next giveaway for October, and the winner will be announced on our Halloween episode will announce the winner. So make sure, and it's going to be YouTube only, so make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube. We're going to be saying that every episode until y'all get it right, okay? So, what did you have to say?
Catch the videos if you ain't catching them. And watch our older episodes, too. You really might find something you might like in there.
Yeah, we recently did that the other day. And it's almost like we're not the ones on the video, because we still learn stuff when we go back and rewatch. So, yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. So, first, I'm going to just give a brief background on our 2 main victims. There are 3 victims, but I don't know why, but it's mainly, like, the case mainly revolves around these 2 individuals. I guess because they have the most information, or that's who the police believe that the attack was targeted towards, not the third person. So, we're going to get into the background of Robert Henson and Robert Gears. So, there's two Roberts. There's a lot of multiples of names. There's like 3 Roberts in this one case. There's like 2 Carols.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So, hopefully you guys can
follow along.
Yeah.
And check it out with us.
Exactly. So before becoming the known businessmen they were, Henson and Gears, I'm going to call them Henson and Gears or Roberts because there's 2 of them, they got the same name. Henson and Gears were friends long before the tragic events, working at Jasper for businessman Ted Euland. I think it's Euland.
I think it's
or
Euland.
Ulan.
I think it's Euland too.
Euland?
Yeah.
They mutually agreed to quit their job together and did. Whilst ending their time at Jasper, they took a few of Euland's clients with them, as well as some money and equipment. Henson and Gears were on a mission, and that mission was to create their own microfilming business. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing a small, like, film company?
I'm guessing so, but I smell a bit of a motive.
A motive? Yeah. The fact that they stole this dude's money and like their old boss at that.
Yeah.
Stole some of his money and his equipment to go fund their own business endeavor.
Some shark stuff right there, man.
Yes, definitely got to be careful with that type of deal. Especially like if it wasn't an agreement, like
right, if that was not the thing.
No, we don't know. We don't know the details, but it from the details of the case, it doesn't seem like Ted gave any type of consent for them to take his stuff.
Right.
However, Euland was one step ahead. Before the 2 men tried taking their own route, Euland made sure to take out life insurance policies on both of them for $150,000 each. So, once he found out, okay, they're trying to, like, steal from me after they were just working for me, like, I was helping them make a living, and now they're stealing from me, I got something for them. Right. I'm going to get a life insurance policy taken out on both of them for a high ticket price. Because that's a pretty good damn price, especially back then. This was, like, in the 70s. This was in 71.
Money had a different value back then. $150,000 a day could be...
Exactly.
Who knows how much back then?
Yeah. So, well, no. $150,000 back then means who knows how much now.
Yeah.
Because the value is higher now.
Either way, it's a lot of fucking money. Now we're going to look at the scene and the setup. To continue on, Gears is 34, Henson is 30, and both Roberts were businessmen and were known to party very hard.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like that's kind of the connotation with all businessmen. Like, I'm trying to think of, what's the name of that movie? God. Wolf of Wall Street. They're businessmen. Because, like, what the hell is a businessman? For one.
Nobody ever knows what they do.
You don't. You just know they do business. Yeah. And we're okay with that. But who knows? Like, nobody knows what the business is, ever. But, typically businessmen do party hard. At least that's how they're portrayed.
Right. It was December 1st, 1971, early in the morning. They were both expected to be at work, even after a night out. However, neither one showed up. Afternoon passed, then evening. Still no sign of the 2 men. Calls were made to their home and usual hangout spots that they would frequent. But these calls all went unanswered. Oof.
And the people that were making the calls, pretty sure it was their employers.
Doing like a wellness check and everything?
Well, I mean, seeing where they were at, they didn't know that something was wrong. I mean, they didn't come into work. Where are y'all at? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But this, again, is like, what case was that? Fuck. The 5 murders, 1 link. What state? Was that?
That was...
Idaho?
Yes.
Yeah, so just like in the Idaho case, how Kristen, like, her job was calling, her family to see where she was at.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of a job do that. Like, what kind of jobs are these people getting? Because these jobs, like, actually seemed to care back then. Whereas now, I feel like if you just don't show up to work, like, your job probably is going to call you, like, once or twice or whatever. And if you don't pick up, they're just going to no-call, no-show you. Like, I feel like they don't really care about well-being of employees these days.
Right.
So, it is good to see that their jobs were actively trying to locate them before anybody else even knew that anything was wrong.
Soon after all failed attempts to contact Garrison Henson, another coworker of theirs, John Carnes, who is 29.
John Corn? John
Red Corn. Gotcha. John Carnes, who was 29 years old, took it upon himself to do a quick welfare check at their home, located at 1318 North LaSalle Street.
Mm-hmm. And that house is still there, I believe.
Wow.
There's pictures of it. I looked on the Indianapolis Police Department website or whatever, and right there, it's just a picture of this house.
That's
kind of scary.
Kind of worrying. No one had heard from the two men all day, and this wasn't the usual. So when the coworker arrived to their home, he welcomed himself inside. Well, he just
what?
Just walks in.
Well, I mean.
But I mean, if you know.
We also don't know, like was the door ajar? Was there a window broken? Like, you know, was the door just wide open? Was it unlocked? Like, we don't know the details. So, I mean, for me, if I were to go check on a friend or check on a coworker that I was close to, and I got to their door and saw that it was like ajar or something just felt off, honestly, I probably would go in as well. Well, actually, I don't know, because I'm chicken shit. I would definitely knock. And I'd, like, peek my head in. But I don't think it's too far-fetched for him to just welcome himself inside. Especially back in these days. You know, everybody used to leave their doors unlocked.
Before shit got crazy.
Yeah. Well, shit was obviously crazy at this time.
Well, I'm saying, like, people just would leave their shit unlocked.
Yeah, it was just the norm.
Yeah. There he unexpectedly found Gears and Henson.
Yes. And the state that he saw them in is, whew, it's crazy because everybody, like, from doing the research for this case, all of the witnesses and people that were working on the case say that it was so gruesome. But I couldn't find, like, gruesome details. So I don't know. I don't know if that's, like, I don't know what, like, if it was actually gruesome or maybe it wasn't as gruesome as the media is making it out to be. Or maybe it was to the point to where, just out of respect for the victims and the families, it's just, you know, you don't need those hardcore-ass details for something so heinous, you know? So, I mean, I don't care. I'm not mad at it, you know? It's fine. But I just wanted to note that there was a lot of source material saying that it was just very gruesome, very intense to see. So, yeah. But with that being said, before we get into what John saw when he entered the home, we are going to take the time to thank our sponsors. And we will be back.
See you soon.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free and it's easy to use.
There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone or computer, making it the best user experience around.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, making it so you don't have to upload to each individual platform.
And the best thing about it, you can make money straight from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
So please, download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. And that's Anchor.fm, spelled ANCHOR.FM.
So what are you doing? Download the free Anchor app now. Alright, and we're back. So now we're going to get into the crime scene itself and the third victim. Upon entering the home, John was greeted by a gruesome and heinous discovery. John had found both Roberts in the home with their hands and feet bound by pieces of sheet, as well as their throats cut. And when
That's a hell of a way to find somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Shit. And because of that, he, in his little, like, I think it was news interviews, in his news interviews, he recalled just thinking how inhumane it was, the way he saw them. Because they were technically, like, hogtied.
Ooh.
Like, you know, like
completely bound.
Yeah, like so, hands and feet.
So, like, my question is, were they, like, bigger men? Like,
they were, actually.
Like, stocky built?
No, yeah, they were. I mean, yeah.
It's kind of interesting, because, like, those are pretty big
And how
guys,
you take out 3 of them.
Yeah.
In the same home.
And I'm pretty sure they're more than capable of...
Exactly. So, and also, we don't know if somebody had broken into the house, so they willfully let somebody in.
Right.
So, yeah, there's just a lot of speculation in this case. Not only did he find Gears and Henson, he also had found one of their friends in the house. The friend was James Barker, and he was 27 years old. And James had suffered the same horrific fate as both Roberts. So literally, all 3 of them, bound by their hands and feet by pieces of sheet, and all 3 of them clean, like, throats, just cut. So, pretty disturbing, honestly.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Definitely.
But it gets weirder. So, once John had discovered the bodies, he immediately called 911. However, when he explained the scene to the dispatcher thought his story was a bit sketchy and over the top. Because when she heard it, she was like, there's no way.
Right, like, what are you talking about?
Calm down. You know, this can't be true. You must be joking, pulling a prank, whatever. That's what the dispatcher initially thought. So the dispatcher, is that right?
Yeah, the dispatcher.
It sounds weird the way I'm saying it. So the dispatcher, or because of this, the dispatcher only sent 1 officer to the scene. In theory, the crime scene just sounded too grisly to be true. That's why. So, you know, she was like, well, I'll send an officer out just to check it out. But I don't think, you know, this is probably just a kid playing a fucking prank.
Right.
That's how he or she thought. I don't know if it was a guy or a girl. But that's probably what the dispatcher was thinking. So the officer then arrived to the home on LaSalle Street and went inside. He was in the house briefly before darting back outside and to his patrol car in a panic.
But he freaked out.
Hell yeah.
Whoa,
and when you got the police running out of the house, yeah, that's how you know it's got to be something serious. Imagine walking down the street and, you know, walking your little dog or whatever you're doing, playing with your kid. Right. And they just, like, you see them, run out of a house, like, across the street from where you live. And you're just like, whoa, hold on. I don't like this. What's going on, you know?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's very unsettling.
Yeah.
To continue, the officer quickly started shouting demands into his radio, stating, "Send me 83, which is homicide, and send me identification, send me a coroner, send me superior officers. We got a triple murder."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine hearing that, because, like, he was yelling that shit.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. 83. Because I don't know about, like, police code. Like, my dad would talk in his little police code through his radios, but he would never, like, he wouldn't tell me what, you know, code 93 means. Like, you know, he didn't do that. But interesting to know that 83 means homicide. That's crazy. I wonder how they come up with the numbers.
I would definitely be down to look into that, though. Yeah. I don't know.
It's kind of cool and smart, though, if you think about it. Because that's how they communicate, like, what type of situation they're dealing with, if you don't know. That's how police officers communicate what type of situation they're dealing with other officers without the common people or the public. In a
discreet way.
Yeah, without people catching on to what's going on. Because think about it, if you're walking past a police officer every day and you just hear them saying, "Oh my God, there's a murder down the road," like, everybody's going to freak out. So when they say, "Send me 83," you don't know what they're talking about. Right. You're just like, oh, it's just a cop yelling, doing their thing. Exactly. You know?
Even when, like, I don't know if you've ever been, like, pulled over or anything like that, but even if, like, they're pulling you over, they're on their radio, they'll even radio it in.
10-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swarms of officers and detectives arrived on the scene, and from there, the revolving question of who would want to kill these men came to the surface.
And that's when it gets crazy. I'm telling you, this is like a fucking movie.
Like reading into it, I was like, this is a mob movie. This is The Godfather.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Hell yeah. But like real.
Yeah.
You know?
Scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
Scary
and
stuff.
another thing that my dad used to say, at the end of like police calls, and he does it on regular calls too, or not even just to end it, but like in response, he'll say, copy that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing.
I'm like, you can't just say, yeah, okay, copy that. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I guess it's just to confirm, like, I heard what you said, I understand, got you, type of deal. So yeah, just another police code for you.
The scene itself had so many oddities. Each man was located in a different room of the home. Henson was in the front bedroom, Gears was in the back bedroom, and Barker was in the bathroom, which was located between the bedrooms. Oh, Jesus.
Weird, right?
Right.
They were all in a different room.
What the...
Like, I don't get that.
Why? Yeah. This is
weird, right?
Definitely a mob movie. Cause what?
And I wonder if it was like a shotgun house where like all the rooms are just like
lined
in
up,
a row, like in a line, or what. But
that's pretty interesting that each of them were in a different room and
not together.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if that was used as a tactic to like weaken them, quote unquote, you know?
Could have been.
Think about three burly men in one room together as opposed to three burly men separated.
Rooms,
yeah.
Huh. Because of the coincidence that both Henson and Gears had suffered the same fate, one of the lead detectives on the case, Detective James Strode, had a prime suspect in mind, a familiar individual, Ted Euland.
And you should remember Ted, old buddy from the beginning.
Big boss,
old boss. Who got the life insurance policy taken on their
$150,000 each. Each.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
Cause if he really did play part in it, he walking away with $300,000. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
He would have been like set, probably.
If he wasn't already.
Exactly.
Also at the scene, there was surprisingly no signs of any struggle, according to detectives, and there was no possible weapons found at the scene.
Weird, right?
Oof.
No weapons, no struggle in the house.
Sounds like a clean job.
Probably no forced sign of entry, and yes, it does sound like a clean job, which sounds like a hit.
Yeah.
Ugh. So now we're going to get into the evidence. There isn't that much, but it's something, and that's really what matters. As long as you have something. It doesn't even matter how small the detail is. If it's good enough, it can crack a case. But I don't know. This feels very solid, but I don't know. It's just very circumstantial. You know, that little circumstantial evidence. I hate that shit.
Right there.
It's the worst
it's
and
been
the best.
Downfall of a lot of people, but it's also been a halt for a lot of cases.
Exactly. So from what police discovered through evidence and interviews after the murders, they were able to come up with a plausible theory months later. 3 men had been sighted in a cream-colored car sitting across the street from the home the night of the murders. The 3 men were drinking beer when they were spotted. These same 3 men were immediate suspects, but there was no leads on who the men were. Police did conclude that the alleged perpetrators likely ambushed Henson, Gears, and Barker, flowing into the house one by one. That sounds scary as fuck.
That's scary as hell. And the fact that they did it allegedly one by one.
Right.
It just further proves the theory of
like that'd be scary as fuck. Like, just I don't know where they were in the house or what necessarily transpired, but I can just imagine being in a situation where you're minding your business, chilling out with your friend, your coworker, in a house, whatever, and all of a sudden somebody just busts in.
Yeah.
Or maybe knocks on the door and you let them in.
Right.
Okay, cool. And then you shut the door. But then again, what am I trying to say? Not then again. And then he starts to attack you or do whatever. But as this is happening, somebody else storms in. Like, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then somebody else storms in. Like, fuck. Oh, that would be so overwhelming.
If that is the case, I definitely feel like it would be people that they knew. Like,
to be able to let them in.
Yeah.
I mean, unless
it was forced.
Unless dude just, like, stormed in there somehow. But,
I don't think I would.
Or, even just knocked on the door, pretending to be a random person.
Right.
And then once the door was opened, forced their way in then.
Definitely seems like they were getting a little plan together, though.
What, the men?
Yeah.
Either that, or they were scouting, scoping the place out to see and make sure that they're actually in there and stuff like that. If it were a hit, I mean, I feel like that's not necessarily exactly how it would go, but
close,
you could definitely picture something like this going on if it were a hit and like a setup. It just makes sense. Why are you like suspiciously just sitting there
outside the house?
Yeah, the same night drinking beer, and 3 of them. There's 3 men and 3 victims, all in different rooms. So if the men did storm in like one by one, they could have dragged them each. Yep. I don't know, but it just sounds scary.
Yep.
And even if they were to all like bust in at one time, I don't know. It's just
like
scary.
I said, if they were to do it one by one, it's interesting because they would have to make sure that they were alone. Because, I'm assuming they're pretty burly guys, so there's no way that one person could just
exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. It just doesn't make sense. So, over the decades, police have followed many leads that led nowhere. Yulin was still a probable suspect, but as detectives dug deeper and deeper into his story, it just didn't fit the narrative. Yulin had a rock-solid alibi and was reportedly in South Indiana at the time. And also, all 3 victims had been involved in other questionable interactions with unknown individuals, meaning anybody could have done this. They all had targets on their backs, supposedly. We don't know for sure, but from what all the sources are saying, like, all 3 of the victims, all 3 of the men, they each had their own little target on their back. Things, yeah, they were tied to other things, exactly. So, although it would have been easy to say, oh yeah, their boss did it so he can get that money, I mean, they couldn't definitively say that because they just didn't know. There's many plausible reasons as to why somebody would have wanted to do this. So,
and that's the craziest part. Like, this shit really lined up in a weird way.
And honestly, even though the fact that they brought up how he was in South Indiana when they passed away, if it's a hit and it's a setup, it don't matter where he is. Like,
if he got people doing
that would be perfect. That would be even better for him to set up his alibi rock solid, so that way he can get off, and if he gets off, the hitmen get off.
What are you talking about? There's no way I could have done this. I was here.
Exactly. And with how clean the job was, I don't know. Hitman, hit motherfucking man.
Right. Shit crazy.
As fuck.
So now we're gonna get into the many theories. All so close, but yet so far off. There have been so many theories on this case over the decades. One woman, Carol Schultz, had a theory that Robert Gierce was involved with the wife of a man named Carol Horton. That's an interesting name.
I know, and they're spelled like
different,
similar but different.
Yeah.
Hers has 1 R, 1 L. His has 2 R's and 2 L's.
Right. His wife, Diane, was seen at the scene of the crime with a neighbor bawling her eyes out. Schultz was determined to take down Horton, but the court looked at her findings as a joke.
Yes, so this right here, this Carol Schultz lady, it's like a whole thing. It's a whole nother narrative, a whole theory, almost a whole different case, if you will. Because she used to like write about flowers and do reports on like little shit like that.
Oh, okay.
And I guess she was intrigued to cover their case and look into it deeper because she said herself that the men were attractive, and who wouldn't be interested in why, these 3 attractive young businessmen that I probably would have, been happy to involve myself with, like, who would just want to kill them? And she was like, everybody wants to know, what happens. And she even stated But you got to remember the times. But she even stated, if it were 3 old fat women, nobody would have cared.
Ooh, yeah.
And the only reason why people cared about this case is because it was 3 young businessmen who were attractive.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is pretty weird. However, the theories don't stop there. Another theory that shocked the media was the assumption made by an incarcerated man that believed President Nixon ordered a hit on the 3 men.
And this doesn't sound too far-fetched.
Yeah, because if you think about this time, like, this is the time of, like, Al Capone and the mafia thing and that whole deal, so...
And presidents were just, sketchy back then.
Questionable.
Well, they still are.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. And the stuff that I've been reading about Nixon recently, in the class that I'm in currently, we covered, like, Watergate, Nixon... JFK, civil rights, like practically everything. It's about American history.
Good stuff.
There's a lot under Nixon's belt.
Yeah,
there's a lot of questionable stuff with him.
Yeah,
his name just keep coming up.
Nixon's a piece of shit.
Yeah, like what the hell?
And everybody like loves, like if you talk to even like older people, they love like going in on the whole Nixon and Watergate thing. So it'll be fun.
No,
like,
I'd be down. We need to cover Watergate. Also, I'd be down to cover Bohemian Grove. Just all these questionable, controversial theories. We're down. We're down for it. So if you guys are interested in those, let us know, because that would be pretty fun to get into. And also JFK. And not just JFK alone, but
the
specifically
whole Kennedy curse.
The Kennedy curse and his relationship with Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh, that'll be interesting to check out.
Juicy. Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot with that. And the Kennedy curse, that shit, there's no way it's not real.
Sucks, man. That really sucks, though.
Yeah. It is. So those will be fun to get into, hopefully. But it's definitely not far-fetched to believe that Nixon probably ordered a hit on the man. Because, Nixon was involved with, like, the mafia and the mob in certain ways.
He hated Al Capone. Like, he absolutely hated Al Capone.
So if one of these victims, or all of them, or 2 of them, however many, was involved, or even if there was a theory or a thought that they're involved in it, I could see why he would probably try to just eradicate and just get rid of them.
Right.
But also for what? Like, why not just take out the top dog?
Well, I don't know. Nixon liked to line his
Or do you like to work your way up? You know how the mob be. They like to...
He liked to line his own pockets, and he had a lot of stuff that he was trying to cover up. So, the mafia kind of getting in the way of that. But that's a whole story.
I see. But also, I don't know if this is true or not, but, like, in the mob, don't they kind of, like, work their way up to, like, scare you?
There's a whole,
like, they use fear as a big tactic. No, I'm talking about, like... For example, if the mob was trying to get a hit out on you, before they even get close to you, they're probably going to go to Georgia and get your family.
No,
they're going to go to California and get your friends. Then they're going to get me. It's going to get closer and closer and closer until it's on you.
Either you give in to what they want or they get you.
So just not the type of people you want to fuck with.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful who you like.
And we need to be careful saying what we're saying before they come get us next.
Accepting favors. Don't accept favors.
Don't ever, because there's always something that's wanted in return that's worth more than what the favor was.
Yeah.
And that's in real life and in jail.
Circling back to Uland, former Indianapolis PD Captain Robert Snow, who's in charge of the homicide, published a book and talked about how Detective Strode and his colleagues had been right all along, stating that Uland hired a hitman to kill Hinton and Gears, then collected his money and separated himself from the situation entirely.
Which, that makes a lot of sense too, though. Like, all of these theories make sense.
Yeah.
And I see what police mean. Like, they all made sense.
So it's like so much.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint what makes the most sense.
Right. Even more evidence to prove this theory came to light when in 2001, police received a letter that was written by a man named Fred Harbinson, another businessman who worked for Uland, who also passed away. Yes,
Uland passed away and Fred passed away. And they didn't read Fred's letter until... he had already passed. He had left it in a safety deposit box. Like, that's how secure he wanted this piece of paper to be. He didn't leave it with a person, like nothing. And when the letter was finally opened and read, out, it was taken out of that safety deposit box after he had already passed away. Whoever opened it and read it was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this to the police.
Yeah, like, you guys might be interested in this. Check this out.
Exactly, and that's how it got to the police. So it had been originally opened a couple years before 2001, but the person didn't send it to the police until 2001.
Excuse me. In his letter, he mentioned how Yulin had hired him to kill Henson and Gears, but never paid him for the job. Harbison knew he couldn't go to police or sue for his money, and he himself was afraid of Yulin, so he did nothing. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a sticky situation.
Yeah.
But for somebody to, like, confess to something like this unprovoked, that right there seals the deal for me. I mean, I would say, like, okay, then again, you do have posers, but, like, why would somebody write a letter about this?
That link to, like, keep it so secret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they ever further investigated this and, like, looked into Fred and seen, like, oh, he was on payroll. He did work for Euland around this time or whatever. But if he worked for Euland, that means that he probably, more than likely, knew Henson and Gears. And probably even the third victim.
James, yeah. Damn. That's pretty crazy to think about, man. It sucks, though, because, like, your conscience will eat you alive. So, I mean...
In the end, there were no prosecutions made, and all of the known suspects that police were most confident about are all dead. So, even if they were to solve the case, like, there's not going to be proper justice.
Right.
Because how are you going to give justice to somebody? Yeah, exactly. So, police stated how one of the main factors in them not being able to crack the case was due to the huge number of motives that they had. That also included one of the victims playing part in an earlier murder and getting revenged on, infidelity, and the mafia.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but all of these are big-ass targets on your back. All of these are pretty damn high. Too much shit makes sense right now. Like, if one of the victims did play a part in a murder prior to their killing, like, to their death, that definitely, of course, if somebody knew, you could get revenged on. But infidelity, I mean, people don't play with their hearts, and that definitely plays a part as well. Like, that is a huge target on your back, especially if the person that's being cheated on knows and they find out. Especially, what if it's somebody that didn't even like you, And then, lastly, the mafia, like... That says enough.
That's all you gotta say. Yeah. That's a lot already.
Exactly. Overall, there were too many motives and not enough evidence. Police have also stated in the past years that the likelihood of them solving this case is 0 to none, simply because anybody who might have had answers is long gone now. And that sucks, and that's hella sad, because, I mean, these 3 men literally just lost their lives. Like, what was... Fuck, I'm Cardi B. What was that reason? What was the reason? Like, really?
There's too many. It's just so many reasons. And then on top of that, like, if you're a criminal, you can't do clean shit. Like,
no.
You have to find ways around it. So,
exactly. And I don't know. Our condolences do go out to the families, because there was no information about the families whatsoever, if they had kids, if they were married.
Right.
I mean, there's just not a lot of information on these men in general. Maybe for good reason. Maybe if they were tied to certain things, we don't know. We don't know anything. So, I don't know. But whenever life is lost, like, it's still sad. Needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah, it's still sad, though, because it's like, that's somebody's
in son. Such a brutal way. Just like John had said himself, the crime scene was inhumane. Like, it was so gruesome and just terrible. Yeah, so John himself even said, like, the crime scene was so gruesome and terrible. Like, I don't know. I just feel like every case needs the light shined on it, pretty much.
Yeah, no.
Like, their lives still mattered, even though we don't know much about them. There's still people that cared about them. The fact that somebody went out their way to check on these men says a lot. And yeah, that's why we're bringing light to this case today. And honestly, I haven't heard anybody talk about this case ever.
It's a sad thing, like, when you have a case like this, you don't really have any information on the victim. Because it's like...
And I don't want it to seem like we're not doing our research and doing our due diligence and, you know, trying to get to know the victim through reading about them. But there really just wasn't anything for these 3 individuals.
Yeah, no, it's really sad because, like, these 3 people basically don't exist. Like, they just disappeared.
Oh, no, they do. There's pictures of them.
No, I get that. I'm saying, like, they just... Outside of that.
Like, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, you don't know anything else. You just know that. But the fact that he walked in... That's what I was trying to say. The fact that John walked into such a gruesome, like, crime scene is what is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, them being hogtied with sheets and...
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This just seemed like an event that took quite a bit of time. Which is just mind-boggling to me. Because how? Like, this definitely wasn't a quick one and done. Like, you're tying people up, or whoever did it, you know. They're tying them up, separating them.
That's a lot of work.
Doing whatever else, who knows what, probably threatening them right before. Like, you never know. You don't know those last moments. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just sad. And all we can do is just send our best wishes to the families, even though we don't even know who the families are. But it's just sad. Yeah. And I feel like this could have been solved, probably. But then again, I see why it's not.
So that brings us to our ending questions. And for this episode, we have 4.
Should we come up with a name for the ending questions?
Actually, I like it how it is.
Really? Ending cues?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, question number 1. Do you believe Euland or President Nixon were involved? Oof. And honestly, yeah.
Who do you think, though?
I'm definitely leaning towards Euland more, though.
Same.
Because it's just too many things that point to him.
Exactly. There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of possibilities. But I definitely feel like Euland... There's more tying into Euland than anything else.
Yeah.
No, than anything else. Than any other theory. Yeah. So, over Euland or Nixon, I definitely think if one of them were involved, it would definitely be Euland. I don't know if Nixon... I feel like he got other shit to worry about.
Right, yeah.
Like, why... Like I said, why would he go after 3 random men in the mob and not Al Capone?
Right.
Or somebody that Al Capone cares about or, knows, whatever.
So much.
His niece, something like that. Like...
Not his niece.
That's how I'm coming.
It's like,
I'm playing. Oh, wait, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, no. Euland just has so much. There's a life insurance policy. There's the fact that they worked for him. There's the fact that
they did him dirty when they left.
The fact that they undercut him and took his business and his money and his equipment. So, if anything is motive, those 3 things for sure. Like,
Hell yeah. And clearly he was thinking about getting back at them in some type of way if he immediately went
and took out life insurance policy.
Exactly. Because otherwise, why else would you bother?
Right. Business is a shady world.
Hell yeah. That shit's weird. Businessmen. What do y'all do? Comment down below or just let us know. Send us an audio clip. Send us an email. If you know exactly, like, what a businessman or a businesswoman's job would entail.
Bruh, honestly, the best answer is whatever the description is. And that's not even much because the descriptions are just as vague.
They do business.
Yeah.
Like,
that's literally it. It's gonna send you in a circle.
Yeah, that's true. Question number 2 is, do you believe Carol was looking for revenge? And not Carol Schultz, but Carol Horton, the man. And I don't believe this, because where the hell did Carol Schultz get her information from?
Right, just out of the blue. Like, was this
like how did you come up with that? I don't understand. I just don't.
It's just, you can't just be jumping to conclusions.
Right. And what kind of revenge? Like, there's no proof that says, or any substantial evidence to lead to Gears being involved with Diane, which is Carol's wife.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't seem that plausible to me.
It doesn't.
But then again, also, like, I don't know. Go ahead.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Question 3. Could the mafia be a key player in this case?
Yes. Like DJ Khaled said, I got the key. Wait, was that DJ Khaled?
Mm-mm.
Who was it?
Future.
Future? No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It had to be.
It was Yo Gotti.
Was it Yo Gotti? Oh, it was Yo Gotti.
No, it wasn't.
It could.
Who the fuck sang that song?
I think you're right. No, I really think you're right.
DJ Khaled, I knew it. I know my shit. Oh, you right too. Future too.
Oh shit.
So it was like a collab.
Saying DJ Khaled don't do shit. He just be there. Anyway.
Okay. Let me finish my little pun. I got the key. Like.
Question 3. Could the mafia be a key player in this case?
I think so, because why not? I don't think there's ever a time where you could rule out the mafia. I feel like they could play a part in anything.
Honestly.
But like, especially in this instance, it does seem likely. But Uland is really just like on my radar.
Yeah, them businessmen, they're a little interested.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't put it past them. And the only reason I would say that the mafia would be a key player is the job was way too clean for just a regular Joe to go in there and do this the way they did it.
Too clean, exactly. No evidence left behind.
Right.
No murder weapon, nothing.
No blood. It might have been blood everywhere, but no weapon, no nothing.
Witnesses seeing a person flee the scene, nothing. So the last question is, do you think that Diane Horton knew what actually happened? And just a refresher, and honestly, actually, with this refresher, I think I don't know. I think it's on the edge. She might have known, but she might not have known. She might have just been sad. Because why was she crying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, with the neighbor. Why was she crying at the scene?
Right.
Like, bawling her eyes out as if this was her husband.
Right.
That is a little sus. Either you were involved with this man, and that's why you're hurt, obviously so, or you saw what happened, and I don't know, but I don't think that she really saw what happened. So it's just, I see why the police were confused.
Yeah, no, it's a very tough situation, because if she did know anything,
where's the proof?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
There isn't
if she
any.
knew anything, then. But it's a very sad case, all around.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. But with all that being said, that brings us to the end of episode 31. And
God. We're almost to 50.
Yeah.
We're over halfway.
50 goddamn episodes? Just wait. It's going to be fun.
Yes. But we've got some really fun stuff lined up for October.
Oh, man.
Spooky season.
I'm
so excited.
It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's going to be even better? These next couple of topics that we're about to get into. Oh, I can't wait.
Yes. Next week, we are going to be covering stories of segregation. And I'm so excited. Like, true stories of segregation where Black individuals, recount the things that they have been through and really just what it was actually like day by day. I'm just so excited to cover this, to really understand, what the fuck we went through,
right,
or what our people went through during these times that weren't too long ago.
Honestly,
mind you.
A little over, 50 years ago?
A little, yeah. All these same motherfuckers still alive.
Right, not even, So.
They still walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Just
In the
keep that
grocery
in
store
mind.
and shit.
Yeah. Voting and shit. Running the country.
And shit.
Anyways, we'll catch you next time.
Literally, we'll catch you next week, guys. I've been your host, DJ.
And I've been your host, Sav.
Stay light, stay bright, and stay positive. Catch you next week on
Deeper Than Most.
Oh.